So we start out using a dominant 13 shape. Okay, and I'm visualizing on the second string the A blues scale. So there's my root. And if I continue down on that string, I have the blues scale. Let's just take a second to build that so you can see where, all these all the distances between the chords are coming from. First, let's do it on the first string here. So there's my A. I have a minor third up to the flat 3, whole step up to the 4, half step up to the sharp 4, half step up to the 5, minor third up to that flat 7, and a whole step back to the root. So that's my blues scale. And I'm going to harmonize that a couple different ways. But in the beginning here, I'm building it off of that second string. So I'm starting on the flat 7, and I'm building a dominant 13 chord underneath. So remember, this is all parallel motion, so no matter what the note is on top, the shape on the bottom is going to stay the same. Okay, so if we relate that to the top note, just so you can see here, it's a dominant 7, a third. That would be either a 6 or a 13, because you have the dominant 7 in there. You think of it as a 13. So we got G13 to A13. I really don't think of it that way. I really do think of it as the blues scale being harmonized. I don't think of these chord qualities on their own. Okay, this is my first hit in A. Now I'm going to set up my change to my 4 chord. I'm going to slide in to this inversion of the 4 chord that has the dominant 7 on top. Okay, going down to the 4 of that, which is G7. Down to another D7. So D7, G7, D7. Okay, now we get into using the blues scale with major 6 chords. So there's an A major 6 chord, root, third, 6, root. I'm going to slide into that. Now I'm looking at my blues scale as being on the top, the E string here. So you notice that chord stayed the same no matter where I was. So I go up from the root to the flat 3, to the 4, and I'm sliding in and out of that sharp 4. Flat 3, flat 3, back down to the root. Okay, now to lead into that 4 chord, I'm going to make my 1 chord augmented. So I have flat 7, 3, augmented 5, which means raised up a half step, and your root, your A on top. That's going to lead me nicely into that D7. It's my 4 chord. I'm going to play a 4 of 4. In this case is G7. Kind of my D there is just kind of buying me time, kind of filling in the measure a little bit. Now I'm going to take an open D7 chord and I'm going to approach it from half steps. And do my raised 4 chord. Notice I brought the D up to D sharp. Any inversion of that diminished shape is just a minor third in any direction, either up or down, it will work. Okay, and now we're back to A. So I'm going to use that blues scale again on the high E string. This time I'm going to harmonize it a different way. I'm going to harmonize it with fourths. So each one of these notes is 4 steps away from each other. Stacked fourths, okay? Right up the scale to the dominant 7. And then come down to the 4. Flat 3 root. This is great. Just take any of your favorite blues licks and just try to harmonize them with these chords. Okay. Now we're set up to lead into the 5 chord. Here's another cool technique that you could use whether you're soloing with single notes or you're soloing with chords like this, and that's to anticipate a chord change. So you could play a chord or a line that's going to lead into a chord change, or that's playing over the chord change a beat early or 2 beats early, and that kind of rub that will happen between the line that you're playing and the chord that you're playing over gets resolved by the band, or gets resolved by that chord going to the chord that you intended. So here I'm in A, and I'm on my way to the 5 chord. Before it changes to the 5 chord, I'm going to anticipate it and set it up with a 5 of 5. So even though I'm over the 1 chord, I'm going to play this 5 of the 5 chord. So I have to think, what's my 5 chord? E. The 5 of that is B7. So that's what I'm playing the beat before, and that's what's going to pull me in to my 5 chord. Okay, there's a lot of motion into that chord, a lot of momentum wants to pull you down to that 5 chord. Notice what I've done to this 5 of chord. I didn't just leave it a regular B7. I brought up that root. So now it's a flat 9. And it's a diminished sound. So now I have like this altered 5 of 5 chord. Goes down to my 5. Now I'm going to walk this up to another inversion of the 5 chord, and notice I use chromatic passing tones to do that. There's diatonic passing tones, making it augmented by raising that 5th. Back to the regular 5. Okay, now we're onto our new turnaround here. So this turnaround is going to start on the 1 chord, and we're going to go up to a major flat 3 chord. So I went from A7 up to a C7, and then I'm going to chromatically walk down B7, B flat 7 until I get to the top of the tune again. And that's a pretty common blues turnaround. Now we did this with all parallel chords, easy for me to say. All parallel chords, but you could change the inversion each time if you want. You can go from A7, you could do it A9 if you wanted to. There's your B9, B flat 9, back to A. So you could use all those inversions that we've gone over in this course to make that turnaround be less parallel and a little bit more melodic.